welcome the ever interesting Hattie.
So it's interesting to follow people who have been talking about the physical body, because I'm really talking about metaphysical, really not in the physical. And so I was sitting there thinking, preparing, because I didn't have time to prepare, about when I start with a client, I talk about who comes to me for a 2-hour reading. And the reason why I want to do a 2-hour reading is because I do astrology, numerology, tarot, and an aura. And so that's like a really comprehensive, the medical people insist on getting a whole bunch of tests to begin with, or a whole bunch of intake. And I feel like this is important, that if you're going to start to say, what did my soul come to do this lifetime? There are wonderful, wonderful metaphysicians who do psychic readings, and they can do them in a half an hour and such as that. But I'm looking at the soul contracts that you made before you came into this life. And there's a PhD psychologist by the name of Michael Newton, who wrote a book called Journey of Souls. And he's talking about what's happening between lives. And I think that's really important, that between lives you get teachings, and then you decide that you're going to take another life. And when you decide that you're going to take another life, you go into a soul group and you do a life review. So this is always funny to think about, because you don't have a body and you don't have an ego. So you go like, you're sitting around with your soul group. How can you sit if you don't have a body? But you're not defensive. And if you go like, it wasn't cool when I didn't pay my child support. And so that you'd say, okay, I'm going to take down a karmic debt, which comes from numerology. I'm going to have a karmic debt that I decide this lifetime I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to tell you about a personal story for me. I have a karmic debt in my date of birth, and that's the most important number in your numerology chart, because you can't go back and say, I didn't, how we say everything has changed. Well, you can't go back and say, I didn't want to be born on that day. You were born on that day. So I have a 19-1, and that's abuse of power. So I have been going to everybody that I can think of. I get past life regressions, I get this, I get that, to go like, what is this all about? A Vedic astrologer said to me that I have a symbol that's like I killed a pregnant snake, which means your Kundalini energy that I've killed myself in previous lifetimes. So I have, ever since I was yay big, when stuff gets bad for me, I go, I wish I weren't here. I don't want to be here. And I feel like my karmic debt issue is to say, I need to not do, it's a habit. You bring in a habit. Probably somebody who didn't pay their child support had a habit of, having sex and having children that they didn't take care of, or such as that. So, I don't think we probably get away with anything when you look at all your lives in continuity. And I don't think we can, like the statement, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. I think it's probably you didn't take on more, that you really thought you could handle it. So I just considered doing a reading for somebody a truly sacred experience, and that there has to be a great deal of trust. That, I've had people, like back when I was more cavalier about stuff, I tell somebody they have a karmic debt, and they, you told me that I have a karmic, like it was my fault. It's really your soul contract that we're talking about. And so that's what, astrology, that stuff that they put in the paper, I go, if somebody came from Mars and then you took them to a McDonald's and you said, this is a restaurant, and they would go back seminars and they would say, describe what a restaurant is. And you know that that's hardly what a restaurant is about. So astrology is extremely complex. There are many different kinds of astrologers. My astrology is really about what your soul, I mean, that's, you don't wake up in the morning and say, what did my soul come to do this like that? I mean, I know that's not the question. People come for readings when they want to go, should I get a divorce or should I, because there's timing with what, I mean, it's quite complex, but it's quite wonderful and it's quite sacred.